lawful solutions for Moors, Black Moors, Moorish Americans, Black Indians, African Americans, Moorish subjects, and all other naturalized or colonized colored people.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Moorish podcast of the Empire of Morocco. I have with me today the Sultan of the Empire, Kendon Bey. Thank you very much for being with us, Kendon. My name is Amir Hassan El. I'm the Vice Minister of the Empire of Morocco and also the Wazir of Elodium, Moorish Peridium, Anti-Oregon. We're going to have a fireside chat with the Sultan, getting to know what's going on, the latest with the empire, and to get some of his thoughts on points of interest that he has at this time. Again, I want to say thank you for your presence and your time, Sultan. Can you explain the difference between political independence and the integrated system which Dr. Martin Luther King fought for?
How you doing, Wazir? Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure. To your question, and that's a very good question. To be honest, political independence is when a group of people, they're self-governing. And integration is when a group of people integrate within a system that's already created. And I'm going to try to explain this best I can in detail, because this is very important for the Moors to understand, right, as well as our people who identify as Black. They really don't have any concept of the term Moor. According to Resolution 1541, Principle 15, A, we had the opportunity to emerge as a sovereign and independent state, separate from the United States of America. You have three more choices that are in alignment with that particular principle. And the next one after emerge as a sovereign and independent state, B, would be free association with an independent state. And you have C, which would be integration with an independent state. The good brother Martin Luther King, may peace be upon him, before he left this earth, what he was fighting for was one of those choices. And he wrote a letter, before he passed, when he was in jail. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that, but in that letter, he spoke about two choices. He spoke about political independence and he spoke about integration. Where due to the nature of the situation at that time, Dr. Martin Luther King, he just wanted to, choose whatever option was going to take effect the fastest for the people. And at that particular time, it was integration. So here we are in the 21st century. We've been in an integrated status since that time. But what does integration, what does that look like? Well, it's everything that you see thus far, with us integrating their system, understanding some of the mechanisms that they had within their government. It wasn't pretty much fair to us as colored people. So we integrated, we sought changes, particularly the 1965 Voting Act. That was one of those particular situations when we integrated, we felt like that wasn't fair. Fast forward to the 21st century. Myself, yourself, and the rest of the Moors that are affiliated with the Empire of Morocco, we understood those options that I just pointed out in Resolution 1514 of 1960. Not only did we figure out the options that were available, we decided to choose another option. And that option was A, emerge as a sovereign and independent state. Why is that important? Well, since we chose A and we declared our independence, we have set off a whole new chain of political options and political reality for the average Black man or, in the United States. And, most of our people are not aware of it. Recently, the Supreme Court, in Louisiana, they just, handed down a ruling, in reference to gerrymandering, and, blacks just voting in general in a particular type of way. They just handed down a ruling, pretty much stating that black can't be used as a legal argument to show discrimination. And what makes that so ironic, most of our people, they're not understanding why the Supreme Court handed down that ruling. And, to be honest about it, and I want everybody to hear me good, it's because of myself and the rest of the Moors, the information that we found out, and we chose a new political path for our people, which was to emerge as a sovereign and independent state. The United States is, aware of us declaring our independence. I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court judges there are aware of the United States, Supreme Court judges of the United States. They are aware of that political decision that we made. But they're being dishonest with the people. They understand that the Black Moors or the blacks here in America, since we have chose independence and emerged as a sovereign and independent state, which is a state that is separate from the United States, now they understand that the Black Moors that are located within the United States government and all the black people here in America generally, they have an option now to pledge their allegiance to the Empire of Morocco, or they can remain in the United States jurisdiction. Now, what makes this so strange, right? The nature of what's taking place. Now that we have our own government and we're coming back into self-governance, the United States doesn't want the blacks to still hold those high political positions within the United States government. Right. Because when it comes to us in diplomatic relations, they understand that the blacks that may still work for the United States, they're going to be more fun to negotiate and deal with us on a fair term. And, again, the United States is aware about this and they're not being honest. So what do? They create hardships within the United States jurisdiction from a legislative perspective, and weaponizing their courts, as you just seen with the newly Supreme Court ruling in Louisiana. And what this does is it sets off a chain of reactions and hardships, whether, Moors, black people in the United States governments, whether they lose their seats, whether they're not able to get elected. And it just kind of forces them and puts them in a position, to find their way back to the Empire of Morocco, because all the privileges that they had and opportunities that they had, they're starting to not be available to them anymore. And, the political independence and the integration, those were the two systems, 2 out of the 3 that were available. But when it came to the other options besides integration, we had no knowledge about it. So, most black people right now, I see them on MSNBC, on CNN, they're trying to boycott. They're going to Senate committee meetings, and they're trying to speak out, and they're really acting belligerent, but they're not understanding why the United States and the Supreme Court ruled in that matter, because it seems like a racial situation. Mm-hmm. But, another aspect of us declaring our independence was, race. The race game is pretty much over. It's either you're American or you're Moroccan. And, that's the missing link that our people are missing with an understanding of what's taking place right now in the 21st century. So the system that Martin Luther King, fought for, and, we placed ourselves in an integration system, that system no longer it exists. It's falling apart right before everyone's eyes. So this is why it's so important for Moors, if you identify as a Moor, or you still just consider yourself Black or African American, for you to understand your history and understand your true nationality, so you can start perceiving the world in a particular type of way, so you can start making the right political decisions, to come back to your mother country and pledge your allegiance to the Empire of Morocco. So, again, man, I'll yield to that question, but, I want everybody to really understand that the system that Martin Luther King placed us in, that system, it doesn't exist anymore. We have declared our independence. We have a separate government. that allows us, to create our own military, to create our own police force, to govern our land, to create our own institutions. And, that's just the reality of where we are now at this point in time. So, it's very imperative that the more as you all wake up and you start, to understand your true nationality so you can make the right decision when it comes to your future from a political standpoint as well as a domestic standpoint. But I yield with that, Wazir.
Okay, thank you. So you're saying that it's possible that the so-called Black politicians that know about the status of Black Moors or Blackamoors, as it's named in some of the treaties, that they're keeping that information silent if they know about it from the rest of the Moors because they're in a situation where they're benefiting from being in the system of the United States. They've got good incomes. They've got a pretty good situation compared to the average so-called Black person. And so it would be to their advantage to not parade this information about Blackamoors being, Moors in their true nationality being Moors. And again, that goes along for the Democratic Party as a whole, because probably most likely without the so-called Black vote, they can't beat the Republicans. So it's to their advantage to keep the Blackamoors in the dark also. Would you say?
Correct. Yeah, you're 100% correct about the statement you just made. It doesn't benefit them to talk about the Empire of Morocco, the Moroccan government, the Moors, because when you speak about that, now we're stepping into a political independence standpoint. And, at this point in time, we're going to really be able to see, who's really for the people and who's really not for the people. Because, we're in our various stages of advancement. So when a group of people get together and they're doing what we're doing, is certain political as well legal steps that you have to take before you're a fully, self-functioning government, making, receiving revenue to pay officials. So, a lot of the things that's going on right now is pretty much pro bono, as, yourself. And I know just on behalf of the people. So a lot of Moors that's working for the United States federal government, they're not really ready or willing to make that commitment, on behalf of the people. They're getting a sentence, as you just pointed out. So, it just seems like it's a much more better situation for them staying involved with the United States and being up under their jurisdiction.
Right. Okay. Let me ask you another question here. What are some of the actual realities of Moors who come back and proclaim their nationality to the Empire of Morocco, whether becoming a regular national or a government official?
Thank you for the question. To be honest, there's a lot of realities, and Moors have to, understand, what I'm about to explain, whether you're a government official or you're a national. The first thing, that Moors have to understand about the reality of really seriously coming back into your Moroccan nationality, we'll just first say as a national, you have to get erudite, or educated on, what does it really mean to be foreign to the United States, right? From a legal perspective, dealing with judicial processes, what does that look like? How do I handle myself within the United States system if it's some type of dispute or litigation going on between the Empire of Morocco and the United States, or a national of the Empire of Morocco in the United States? And it's much more different, than what I see online, that I see that the Moors feel like they understand. We never had to really look at ourselves from a foreign perspective when it came to the United States, because we always felt like we were American. So, we fit right in. It became the legal issues. We handled it like an American. So, we never had to study or, learn any different judicial processes from a legal perspective when it came to the United States. Being a government official, Moors have to understand what are diplomatic relations, right? What does that look like when you're representing a foreign country with another country? What are the obligations of the other country? So, these are some of the things that Moors have to consider and they have to understand, as well as, it's a big responsibility whether you're being a national or a government official of the Empire of Morocco, because you're within an organized Jewish society. You're working with other bright minds and other intelligent people with one mission and one vision, to get things accomplished in a unity way. I hear a lot of Moors, they speak about uplifting fallen humanity, and us coming together. But, from a political and a jurisdictional standpoint and a state standpoint, I realize they really don't know what that means. And, that's just something that's going to have to grow on us as a people. But, 100% sure their erudition and growing and studying and just trying to get a lawful understanding of what it means to be a foreigner in relation to the United States of America. A year.
Okay, so you said there's responsibilities for nationals. I understand there's responsibilities for the those who are working in the empire, but can you explain some of the responsibilities for nationals?
Yes, dealing with law enforcement, that's a big responsibility as being a Moroccan national. Thus far, our people just have had a misconception thus far of, how are you supposed to handle yourself as a national when dealing with the police. A lot of Moors, they act real belligerent. They try to tell the police officer what they're not going to do, what the police can do. And at the end of the day, laws to be respected, all around the world. So, as a de jure Moroccan national, you got to understand, what are your obligations as a Moor? What is the legal procedure of dealing with a colonial officer? If you're in a traffic stop, you have to understand, what are the proper channels to get in contact with your government? How do you get consular protections or consular assistance? And just being a model citizen. Being a model citizen, they already have this perception of us as Black people just in general. So, when you call yourself a Moor, whether it be government official or national, you're held to a high status, in the public's eye. So, if a regular Moroccan national, he's not erudite on our laws, staying up to date on the notifications that have took place between the Empire of Morocco in the United States, they're not going to carry themselves in a particular type of way as a responsible adult and a national of a state for which they represent.
Okay. So for a Black Moor who's listening to this, what would you tell them and why it's important for them to renounce and make allegiance with the Empire of Morocco? Because a lot of Black Moors, and the reason I'm saying Black Moors is because that's the name in the treaties that are that's the language they use in some of the treaties. So, how do you think we should encourage them to take allegiance with the Empire of Morocco? Because like you said, a lot of them don't really know anything about the Empire of Morocco, the history of the empire, and the relationship that the empire has with many other Christian countries. But how do you suppose that we bring them and give them information and get them to pledge their allegiance to the empire?
Thank you for the question. Really to be honest, you have Chief Justice J. Bay, with the impact study session.
Mm.
You have podcasts or interviews, like the one we're having now. Uh, you know, these are some of the main things all that we really can do. It has to come a point in time where the Moors, they just have to make a decision. Uh, and understand the legal aspects of remaining a United States citizen versus repatriating back to the Empire of Morocco, your mother country, in the lawful position that you will be in versus being an American citizen, in the power of the Empire of Morocco. Uh, but it's just really about education. That's all we really can do. We can, try to put the information out there. And just try to educate the people. But on this road of me learning, me growing, and becoming a teacher in a certain space to other people. I've learned once the student is ready, then the teacher will appear.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our people, they're just really not at a place where they're ready to take the responsibility to really learn who they are. So they can assist the Empire of Morocco. And, I have to give credit. There are, quite a few who are recognizing what's taking place. And, they're moving closer to the Empire of Morocco. But, just to answer your question, Wazir, we just have to continue putting the information out there, trying to educate the people best that we can. We're giving them reference points and, understanding the advantages of being a Moroccan national and not being up under the jurisdiction of the United States. But, I can say it gives you an opportunity to have a voice again. As you know, we create legislation. We have the legislative branch. We have the Wazir Council, where we come together at a round table and we talk amongst us and make decisions based on our respective territories. It just puts us in a position where we actually can really come together as one people, and we have the force and authority of the state behind us. And just, put us in a superior position, when dealing with the United States.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you saying is that we are self-governed. We're not governed by the United States or any other country. We make our own laws and we look out for our own people. And I'd like to say that, I grew up being called Black, and, my mother said we were Black. Back then, I didn't hear the term African American. I heard Black and Negro. So you're saying that as Moroccans, we have a lot more freedom, and what's more important is that freedom means, to me, not having to go in front of a court that the colonists, what I call the people who, the United States, are in control of. Because a lot of times Blacks don't think they're getting a fair deal when they go in front of the court system of the colonists, and a lot of times that's correct. They're not getting the best representation. But according to the treaties of peace and friendship, it says that if there's a dispute between Moroccans and U.S. citizens, that the proper court or venue that the case should be adjudicated it's the Moroccan consular court. And I can see them getting a better shake or a better deal. What I mean by that is there's not going to be much prejudice against the Moroccans when they go through the consular court, although the consular court is going to be fair to both parties by hearing the case and making a decision. but it won't be a decision based off prejudice or, you know, being a racist, you know, because of you look down upon in that court system, and your rights aren't the same as the Americans. Okay, so that's a big difference, I'm thinking, because we're living on the same landmass and in the same cities and, you know, possibly even the same neighborhoods, more than likely. There's there's going to be disputes, and you know, when the police come out, uh, a lot of times now and in the past, they automatically think that the so-called black person's in the wrong, and he gets dealt with or she gets dealt with uh, much differently than the U.S. citizen, the white citizen, to be more specific. So um, it would be, I would think, to the advantage of the Moors to learn more about, when I say Moors, I mean the Black Moors who are not taking the Pledge of Allegiance to the Empire of Morocco, to really look into what are not just the advantages, but, you know, to understand that you have a government and a country that is looking out for your interests and to protect you. Uh, and you want to be a part of that, because it's not only going to help you, but it's going to help your offsprings and their offsprings as this government continues to grow. I just wanted to share that. What do you think about what I just said?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But as you're talking, I just want to point out it gives you an opportunity to be a part of the legislative or creating the law process. So, if you're a part of the process and you are assisting with creating these particular laws to govern us, your whole movement is going to be different because, you understanding the legislation or the laws that you have the opportunity to be a part of putting together. So, what is legal, what's not legal, as well as, making life more easier. And, I just want to add this, once you all go to really studying the treaties and understanding the content that's within the treaties, a lot of things that we experience within the United States jurisdiction, they don't necessarily exist within the Empire of Morocco, because from a lawful perspective, the things that they made illegal, they're legal in the Empire of Morocco. So again, what you pointed out as well is, you just get opportunity to be a part of the lawmaking process.
Okay. And that's important because, a lot of people saying, why is this a law? Why do we have to abide by that law? Now you're in a position where you can contribute to making new laws that you think are beneficial for you, your government, the people, your families, as opposed to, taking on foreigners' laws, because the colonists are foreign to the Empire of Morocco. So, yes.
Great.
Okay. Let's see. What's the difference, or let me ask you this question. What does the future look like between the Empire of Morocco and the United States from a working relationship perspective?
Thank you, Isaiah. That's a good question. I want the Moors to really, pay attention, to what I'm about to say. In my journey of getting more educated, about cohabitating together with another state, being in a governmental position, or, being foreign to the United States. The United States, they have a treaty right to be on this land. I don't think a lot of Moors really understand what that means and what that looks like. They signed a treaty to be here. They have a treaty right to have the United States of America government. That's not our government. So, as we grow in our various stages of advancement, we look forward to working hand in hand with the United States at some point. having formal diplomatic relations with the United States, to create peace, and prosperity, within the United States as well as the Empire of Morocco. When it comes to law enforcement, I know at some point in time, the Empire of Morocco, once we continue to grow, we'll have law enforcement, working side by side with authorities of the United States. It's going to be a good working relationship. That was one of the main stipulations of the treaty. It's a treaty of peace and friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to working well with the administration of the United States at some point, as well as the rest of the Moors, a part of the Empire of Morocco. But, we're going to have a good working relationship with the United States. And, according to the treaties and the Charter of United Nations, going through this decolonization process, they were supposed to assist us. And I understand the totality of decolonization. I understand how complex of a thing it is, and it takes time for things to come full circle. But that time is going to come where, we'll be working hand in hand with the United States and, the United States administration, to bring, again, peace and prosperity, not only for Moors, but for the citizens of the United States. So, I look forward to working with the United States in the future.
Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate and ask you, what are some of the signs that the United States is decolonizing now? And for those who are Black Moors, and, they're in a situation where they're listening to you and they're saying, I need to know more, but what is this decolonization? And how does it affect what's going on now in what they call the United States? Because they're not familiar with calling it the Empire of Morocco. So how is decolonization being realized today that I could see as a Black Moor?
Thank you. That's a good question. And we'll use the new Supreme Court ruling. I don't think a lot of Black people, they understand the term Black is civilly mortus. That status is dead in the eyes of the law. So, we've been identifying as Black, for all these years. And we thought that we had rights associated with that status, but they were privileges. So just us taking on the status of Black put us in a privileged status. So once someone gives you a privilege, they can take the privilege from you whenever they get ready. So, with the new 1965 Supreme Court ruling, Section 2, that was one of those privileges that Black Americans or Black people had within the United States government. They had a privilege to vote and to elect, their representative. Well, again, since we've declared our independence, it set off a chain of new political realities for the average Black American. And that privilege was taken away. But the only reason that the United States, they start positioning themselves, to take these particular privileges away is because, they understand, why do you need a Black representative to represent you in the United States government, in our government, when you have your own government, which is the Empire of Morocco, and you have a big selection of Black representatives to choose from? They're really dismantling the whole, Black aspect from the United States, with the Smithsonian Institution. They're dismantling that, the DEI program, they're dismantling that.
Affirmative action.
I spoke with a friend of mine, and his daughter was going to Mississippi State. But she ended up transferring because she said that they're dismantling all the Black courses that they had at the college, due to the DEI. So, it's a lot of privileges that the, Blacks have had for quite some time that are, slowly but surely going to get taken away from them. due to the Empire of Morocco being back in existence. And we have declared our independence. But, on the flip side, now that we have declared our independence and, we're back in our proper person as a Moor or a government official of the Moroccan Empire, we have opportunities to, establish our own institutions, our own state-of-the-art hospitals, our own state-of-the-art, institutions, create our own subdivisions. We have the opportunity to do this and so much more. So, it's just about the people realizing truly who they are and the opportunity that they have, understanding that they're Moroccan and being able to come back to the Empire of Morocco and become a Moor again, uplift fallen humanity. I yield.
Okay. I'm thinking that a lot of Moors have been hearing, that once the Empire of Morocco goes in front of the ICJ and come back with a win. That's, what they've been talking about, a win. How will they enforce the win once they get it? How do you enforce it?
Well, that's just a matter really of documentation. So, once the proper documentation, is produced, reaffirming what we already know is true, that documentation will be enforced through, the regular legal procedures of any court, because it'll become what you call a precedent or a case law, right? So these documents can be used in a legal way to enforce the rights of the Moors as well as the treaties. So, to be honest, it's really a simple process. Once what you just spoke about takes place from the ICJ, it's just a matter of having the documentation and bringing that documentation forward when enforcing the treaties. Because the only thing they're going to say, okay, well, when it comes to the 1836 Treaty of Peace and Friendship or the 1880 Treaty of Madrid or the 1907 Act of Algiers, based on, we have a right to repatriate back to our mother country. They're going to reaffirm everything that's in those treaties in that particular document. So anything that we write as a byproduct of those particular treaties that I named, it will become enforceable because it'll be reaffirmed from the highest court on the land, which is the ICJ. I yield.
Okay. I'm thinking about a question that, I've heard other Blacks talk about, the United States broke treaties with the Indians. Why don't, and so forth. Then they would say, what makes you think they'll keep the treaty with you? And they had documents with the Indians, and they broke them, and they moved on. So I'm listening to those, and I just wanted to let them know that when I say them, Black Moors know that our treaties are much stronger. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. And, that statement, I've heard that statement, too. Well, they had the treaties with the Indians and they broke them. So, why wouldn't they break the treaties, with you? Not only, or do our treaties give us a lot of authority, but certain legal procedures have never been seen all the way through, whether it's with the Indians, whether it's with, any of the states that may go to the ICJ. There's always some type of side deal that has taken place. But, the difference right now in time, it's not about a monetary gain for us. It's about the rule of law. And now that, we understand who we are in the contract, we understand, who's superior, who's inferior. We understand the terms and conditions. But most importantly, we know how to enforce it. So, we're at a point now where we know how to create that specific performance from the other party. And that was information and, procedure that we didn't have, really no time really within our life. So, right now we have the information to enforce the treaties to the fullest effect, to where we can, get justice. I'm not saying that it's still not a complicated thing. What we're doing is much bigger than us just Moors individually. This is a humanity thing. So to get to the finish line, it's going to take more than just Moors. It's going to have to be some Europeans that are involved with the Moors taking their seat amongst nations. And, that's what makes this thing so unique, because the Empire of Morocco is a special state. It's a very, very special state. To be honest, there's no state on planet Earth that's like it. Once you understand, our treaties and authority that our treaties give us. But, that authority, it spreads out. So it puts us in a position to where we can not only help Moors, but we can help, other groups of people across planet Earth, whatever their nationality may be, because the Empire of Morocco, it crosses continents, it crosses countries and states. So the empire is real big. So it's a lot of people within the Empire of Morocco, and due to our absence, they've been getting treated unfair. So with assist again with the Europeans, as well as rest of people on planet Earth, we'll come together, and we'll create peace on planet Earth.
Okay. Tell me, who are our allies at this time? Do you have any idea?
Who are okay, excuse me. Who are our allies? Well, I mean, that's kind of a broad question. Who are our allies? We haven't been in a political position that we are now, operating within a state, to have diplomatic relations with other countries, to, have an ally or a strategic ally. We really haven't. But, based on the history, what I've been studying, I learned, we had quite a few allies. Germany, the United States is an ally. It's just about us getting back to the negotiation table, and seeing who's going to deal with us on a fair note. And that's really when those decisions really can get made. Who's a strategic ally or who's an ally. But for the record, I just want to make known the Empire of Morocco. We're going to deal with everyone on an equal, fair footing. We're not here to take advantage of anyone in no type of way, shape, form, or fashion. We're here to deal honest, and just to create peace, man. A lot of the, disputes that I see within planet Earth, there's a lot of one-sided negotiations taking place. And, that's not fair on a lot of levels. So, the Empire of Morocco, we're going to deal with everybody on an equal footing. And we're looking to be fair, and we're looking to get treated fair. Yeah.
Okay. So the Empire of Morocco, according to the treaties, are in a position to bring security and peace to the planet. Is that correct? And according to the Treaty of Algeciras.
Correct. The 1906 Act of Algeciras is a demilitarization treaty. So we have jurisdiction over weapons of sport and weapons of mass destruction. So, with that type of authority, it puts us in a position where we can disarm. We can disarm certain belligerent countries that are waging war within the Empire of Morocco on planet Earth. So yes, it's a very powerful treaty.
Okay. So the treaty gave the Moors police power, and
Correct.
that police power is around the world, or just in the within the Empire of Morocco.
Uh, well, again, that's a broad question. I'll say around the world. Just to name a few. The United States is located within the Empire of Morocco. You have France located within the Empire of Morocco. You have Russia. You have Great Britain. So, from where we are located within the United States to, those far lands, whether it be French, uh, Russia or Great Britain, that's all over the world. So, yeah, the Empire of Morocco jurisdiction, it stretches far. So we got an opportunity to do a lot of good.
Okay. Um, I was thinking about the statement that the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, made when he went to Europe, and sounded like to me that he was trying to encourage that the United States, along with the European countries, um, go back to their former state of imperialism and conquering and controlling other countries' resources. Were you familiar with that
Yes,
communication?
yes, I actually am. I did get to see that particular speech that Secretary of State Marco Rubio gave. Man, the United States understand what's taking place. This is just not in a United States thing. Just what's taking place with this decolonization and indigenous people wanting their land back. But Marco Rubio, he understood. He was trying to get some assistance. To try to continue and maintain colonialism. Great Britain, they outlawed slavery, I want to say in 1836. And they had amnesty law to where they was holding judicial hearings on the water on boats because they were still catching, the United States and other states or countries still participating in slavery when it was outlawed. And to maintain the colonialism, apparatus, it takes assistance. In the United States, they understand that it's coming to an end. It's about multilateralism on planet Earth. States are coming together. So, that particular speech that Marco Rubio gave, he was just trying to get some type of backing from the rest of the European states. But again, they pretty much have made their decision, and they understand, colonialism is outlawed. Right? So, the jig's up. It's a new era. It's about peace and prosperity for everybody on planet Earth.
Yeah.
It's not about war. The brain destruction. The world is leaving from that. I yield.
Yeah. United States being a member of the United Nations, in the Charter of the United Nations, it said that they outlaw colonialism. But yet, in his statement, he was supporting it. And it sounded like to me he was thinking or trying to encourage other European countries to go back to colonialism and conquering, getting resources. And with that type of thinking, the United States is going in opposite direction of the Charter of the United Nations. I'm curious to find out how many of those nations were encouraged by that speech, or how many were discouraged by that speech and were pulling away from the United States with that type of attitude. I remember reading that the Canadian Prime Minister and a few others were talking against and was very dissatisfied with the outcome of that speech. So the United States is being based off of that and what they've done here recently with Iran and helping Israel. It's become a big mess here recently. The war supposedly was only supposed to last a couple of weeks. Now it's surpassed a month. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, man, it's really about the law. From so many, respects, it's an illegal war. President Barack Obama, he had an agreement with Iran, in reference to the nuclear weapons. And Trump just really reneged on that agreement.
Yeah.
And again, it was an act of aggression, what really took place. I hate to see it, man, once you get to this level of the game, whether you're a head of state or, you're a president, you always have to, keep in mind the lives and the people that, you become responsible of. You can't hold these positions from a selfish position because you'll make decisions such as what took place, what's taking place in Iran, with the United States and Israel. So, I feel like it's unfortunate. My sympathies, they go out to the people of Iran, as well as the American soldiers who may have lost their life, fighting a senseless war. I hope some type of peace agreement, it happens soon, so no one else has to die, and peace can be brought. Iran can be brought back to a state of peace.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Sultan. I got another question. Why do you feel that most Moors or Black people are having a hard time embracing the Empire of Morocco and understanding why decolonization is the only way as a people we can make self-governing a reality to get from under the jurisdiction of the United States?
Thank you for the question. Well, to be honest, it's a variety of reasons. Most important, we have never been in this situation before, to really be at the top, to understand what it is to have our own state and our own country, that we can run. And a lot of our people, they've been, taught, to go back to what we spoke about in the beginning of the interview, they've been taught to approach, political independence or, liberation and freedom from an integrated perspective,
Mm-hmm.
And a religious perspective. And, we've never been in a position where we had to approach it the way that we're approaching it. So it's, information that's new to us, or, a lot of us, we're not even privileged to even understand how this type of thing works. 90% of the Moors, they don't even know what the word decolonization means or what it stands for, less long even realizing that they're colonized people. So, with those important aspects of them, not understanding that, it makes it so hard for them to even embrace the fact of, okay, the Empire of Morocco is my mother country.
Mm-hmm.
I have an opportunity to, sit in a high governmental seat of office. I have the opportunity to write legislation. I have opportunity, to send these certain diplomatic correspondence. And based on me, being in this particular office, it's going to create a shift to what's happening, in the physical, in the reality of everyday life. So we really never had, these opportunities. And we never just been educated, about the state just in general to even approach it from that perspective. A lot of Moors, that I talk to, they're so clueless to how treaties work, how actual diplomatic relations work between two states. They don't really understand it's a certain procedure and process that takes place to make the world move in the way that you see it move on an everyday basis. From ships docking the ports, to your average everyday, traffic laws, in our everyday life. So, from that perspective and understanding, that's why I feel like it's so hard for Moors to embrace the Empire of Morocco, to embrace what we're doing, to understand what we're doing is real, to understand what we're doing has never been done before here, in the United States. Decolonization has been taking place across planet Earth, but we are the first ones to decolonize on the same landmass as the people that colonized us. But again, these different aspects are people that are just not educated. So it just makes it so hard for them to even accept and understand the mission and vision of running your own state, self-governing, being responsible to wield that same respect, from a neighboring country, other countries across planet Earth. And, that's one of the main things, myself as well with the rest of the Empire of Morocco, we hope to bring to everyone, that this is a reality. This is not a dream. We do have a mother country, which is called the Empire of Morocco. And, what comes with that, that opportunity to get back into self-governance, a lot of authority and a lot of power comes with it. So, our people just have to grow. And, really to be honest, include myself, I can be honest. We've never had the opportunity to really wield true power. Like, we may have seen it from a glance, what we may see all our life, with the United States and, how they move across planet Earth and, some of the noble things that we've seen them do. But we just never been in that position. We always been second and third class citizens, taking orders from, an occupier who's been occupying our land. So, this is just, it seems like a dream, but it's really not. So it's just going to take a lot of studying for our people, to really be able to understand the opportunity that's before them, so they can embrace the Empire of Morocco, and understand, what decolonization is and, what responsibility that puts on us as a people if we truly want to self-govern.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, Sultan, tell me, what are some of the things you want the Black people, the average Black person, to know about the Empire of Morocco?
Thank you for the question. I want the average Black person to understand that in the near future, your life is going to change dramatically. Whether you wake up and you understand that you are Moor, or if you just stand on the sideline and, you see other Moors proclaim their nationality and they come back to the jurisdiction of the Empire of Morocco. I want you all to understand that the Empire of Morocco has always been here. We just been absent for the information of understanding that we had a government. So, we never took the steps to, get it back up and running. I want you all, to understand the Empire of Morocco has so many opportunities for you. It has a lot of opportunities for you, for your kids in the next generation. It's a lot of opportunities for us. This opportunity that we have is really the biggest opportunity on, in our existence. We had never got back into a place of self-governance. I want you to understand, this is a very serious matter. This is not a game. The Empire of Morocco is a real, de jure, legit government. It has the same power and authority from a reference point perspective that you see every other country on planet Earth. It has. So we have a lot of big opportunities, being able to be involved with the Empire of Morocco. So, man, I just want you all to know, to study your history, start getting involved with learning, what a Moor is if you don't know, and it's going to lead you to the truth, understanding, who you really are, how we got in this situation as a people, and how do we get out of this situation. So, I just want all Black Moors or, Black people to, really take this Empire of Morocco thing serious, and understand that the Empire of Morocco is here to stay. And we're here to make a difference, for all of our people, right now in the present, as well as in the future. I yield.
Okay. Tell me, what type of reference materials could you suggest for Blacks who are interested in learning more about the Empire of Morocco and the relationships with other countries, such as the treaties?
Thank you for the question. First on top of my list, man, I encourage everybody to watch Impact study sessions, on YouTube, Impact Media. Our Chief Justice Jay Bay, he does a wonderful job with, explaining the history of what took place with us, as well as, giving you good reference points that you can go and study. I'll name a few. If you're not familiar with the Charter of the United Nations, the 1945 Charter of the United Nations, go get you a copy of it. If you haven't got the opportunity to get a copy of the Empire of Morocco's 2024 Constitution, go on eom.gov website. That's the official Empire of Morocco's website. You can get a copy of our Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, as well as you'll get an opportunity to see some of the correspondence that has already been sent to the United States of America on our behalf. Get you a copy of our treaties, the 1907 Act of Algiers, the 1880 Treaty of Madrid, the 1836 Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Go get these documents, and get familiar with them. Again, I pointed out Impact study sessions. A lot of these documents that I'm, pointing out for you all to go and acquire, Chief Justice Jay Bay, he breaks them down and he gives you good reference point to where you really can get the full context of the documents. So you'll know, pretty much what some of the pages you can go to, some of the articles that you can view. Resolution 1514, that's a UN resolution. Resolution 1541. These are very important documents in reference to our liberation as a people. You begin to read these documents, they're going to explain to you and show you the opportunities, that has been before us. A lot of these documents from 1945, 1960, they're from the 70s. And we've been had this opportunity, but yeah, 100% sure watch Impact study session as well as get those documents. We also have the Moorish podcast of the Empire of Morocco. That also is a good YouTube channel for you to watch. It has actual some of the interviews that I'm doing now, and as well as has excerpts of out of some of the videos. But just take the time out, man, to gather some of the information that I just named. I mean, it's gonna help you tremendously. If you're interested in who you are, with your ancestors, and you want to know the truth, this is the information you need to be looking at. And it'll be your stepping stone. You can build up off of it. And again, man, I thank everyone for taking the opportunity, to watch this interview. I love when I get the opportunity to come and speak with you all and give you all information, so we can build, together. Because this is what this is about. It's going to take all of us to make this a reality. to uplift fallen humanity, you know, and to bring peace and order back to planet Earth. You know, we're original people. We were here before anyone. So, you know, we was guardians of planet Earth.
Right.
And, you know, just over time, you know, we end up stepping down from that role. But now we're back. So we need to take this opportunity seriously. You know, we just do what needs to be done, you know, to bring peace back to planet Earth. I yield.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sultan, for those words. Again, this is the Moorish podcast. We're speaking with the Sultan of the Empire of Morocco, Kendon Bey. And we thank you for taking time out to listen to our interview. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the Empire of Morocco website. Until next time, thank you. Peace and love.
Thank you.